I believe that the earliest source we have for the life of the prophet is the Quran itself. And I believe the Quran is early. There have been scholars, and there still are some, who have attempted to make an argument that the Quran, like the Gospels, developed over time and is relatively late. But I think the predominance of evidence points to it being a contemporary source with the prophet, for the most part at least. And so things look very different if you privilege the Quran, because many of the stories that are told in the Abbasid period are not, there's no evidence of them in the Quran. And many of the attitudes that are displayed in the Abbasid texts are not in the Quran. So, for instance, I believe that the Quran disallows offensive warfare, that only defensive warfare is permitted in the Quran. This is not what the Abbasids thought. In fact, they and later Muslim thinkers often thought that it was an obligation to attempt to expand the sphere of the Muslim empire. I don't believe that that's a Quranic attitude. Moreover, the Abbasid and later sources often depict the relationship of the Prophet Muhammad with the pagan community, which still worshiped the old North Arabian gods, according to the Quran, as consistently hostile and sort of as imposing thought and religion on them. I don't find that attitude in the Quran either. So just to give an example, we have Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4 of the Quran, verse 94, which is a late surah, we think, surah from the period I'm talking about, which says, "Do not say to one who offers you peace, you are not a believer." That is to say, the Quran is saying that a Muslim party out on their horses or camels, a war party, comes upon a pagan group. Pagan group says, "Assalamu alaikum," and the Muslims reject this greeting. They say, "You're not mu'minun, you're not believers. Why should we accept your salam?" And then attacks them and loots them. And the Quran says, no, you can't do that. That they have a right to a presumption of innocence. They may not be allied to your enemies. If they greet you with peace, you have to greet them with peace, and you can't just loot them. So the Quran maintains that peace is possible with pagans who aren't hostile, who aren't at war with the Muslim community.